Zionism, it's a word that carries a lot of weight, often sparking heated debates and strong emotions. But what does it actually mean? At its core, Zionism is a national movement. It's the belief that the Jewish people deserve their own independent state, a safe haven from centuries of persecution. And that state, according to Zionism, should be in their ancestral homeland, Israel. Now, it's important to note that Zionism isn't some monolithic entity. Like any ideology, it has evolved over time, with different interpretations and approaches. Some people see it as a purely political movement, focused on establishing and protecting the State of Israel. Others view it through a religious lens, believing in a divinely ordained right to the land. And still others embrace its cultural aspects, celebrating Jewish identity and heritage. Understanding these different facets is key to grasping the complexities of Zionism. To truly understand Zionism, we need to rewind the clock to 19th century Europe. This was a time of massive upheaval, with nationalism sweeping across the continent. Different ethnic groups were demanding their own independent nations. But for Jews in Europe, this wave of nationalism came with a dark side, a surge in anti-Semitism. Imagine living in a society where you're constantly told you don't belong, where you're subjected to prejudice and violence simply for being Jewish. This was the reality for many Jews in Europe at the time, and it led some of them to ask a crucial question: if we're not welcome here, where do we belong? Enter the seeds of Zionism. Against this backdrop of rising anti-Semitism, a journalist named Theodor Herzl stepped onto the world stage. Herzl, witnessing the rampant anti-Jewish sentiment in Europe, had an epiphany. He believed that the only way to ensure the safety and security of the Jewish people was to create their own independent state. In 1896, he published a groundbreaking pamphlet titled Der Judenstaat, the Jewish State, outlining his vision for a Jewish homeland in Palestine. This wasn't just some abstract idea. Herzl was a man of action. He organized the first Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland, in 1897, bringing together Jewish leaders from across the world to discuss his plan. This Congress marked the birth of modern political Zionism, turning Herzl's dream into a global movement. Fast forward a few decades to 1917, and we arrive at a pivotal moment in the Zionist story, the Balfour Declaration. Picture this. World War I is raging, and the British Empire, in a strategic move, issues a letter promising their support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. This declaration, named after British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour, sent shockwaves through the Jewish world. For Zionists, it was a monumental victory, a sign that their aspirations might finally be realized. But the Balfour Declaration also planted the seeds for future conflict. You see, Palestine wasn't an empty land waiting for someone to claim it. It was already home to a large Arab population, and they weren't exactly thrilled about the prospect of a Jewish state being established on their land. The declaration, while a triumph for Zionists, ignited a century-long struggle over the same piece of land. Section 5. The Holocaust fueling the fires of a nation. The horrors of the Holocaust cast a long shadow over the 20th century, forever etching themselves into the collective memory of the Jewish people. The systematic extermination of 6 million Jews by the Nazi regime during World War II had a profound impact on the Zionist movement. The world, witnessing the depths of human cruelty, was moved to act. The Holocaust served as a tragic and undeniable testament to the Zionist argument. Jews desperately needed a safe haven, a place where they could determine their own destiny and never again be subjected to such horrors. The international community, grappling with the guilt and shame of the Holocaust, rallied behind the creation of a Jewish state. The stage was set for the birth of Israel in 1948. Section 6, a tapestry of Zionism, exploring the threads. Now, it's crucial to understand that Zionism isn't some monolithic entity. It's more like a tapestry woven from different threads, each representing a unique approach to achieving the Zionist goal. Think of it like this. You have your political Zionists, folks like Herzl, who focused on establishing a Jewish state through diplomacy and international pressure. Then you have your cultural Zionists, who emphasized reviving Hebrew language and culture in the Jewish diaspora. And let's not forget the labor Zionists who believed in building a socialist utopia in Palestine based on Jewish labor and self-sufficiency. These are just a few examples of the diverse strands within the Zionist movement, each with its own ideology and methods. Section 7. A land divided, the Palestinian perspective. We can't talk about Zionism without addressing the elephant in the room, the Palestinian perspective. While Zionism represents the dream of a Jewish homeland for many, it also represents the loss of their homeland for Palestinians. The establishment of Israel in 1948, known as the Nakba, catastrophe in Arabic, by Palestinians, led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their homes. This displacement, coupled with the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, has fueled resentment and opposition to Zionism among many Palestinians. They argue that Zionism has come at their expense, dispossessing them of their land and rights. This perspective, often overlooked in mainstream narratives, is crucial to understanding the complexities of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Section 8. American Jewish Descent, a history of opposition. Now let's shift gears and talk about a lesser-known aspect of Zionism, American Jewish descent. Believe it or not all American Jews have supported the Zionist movement. From the very beginning, there have been voices within the American Jewish community questioning the Zionist ideology and its impact on Palestinians. In the early 20th century, some Reform Jewish groups even rejected the idea of Jewish nationalism, advocating for integration and assimilation into American society instead. After the establishment of Israel, criticism from American Jews grew, with groups and individuals speaking out against Israeli policies towards Palestinians. These dissenting voices often faced pushback and accusations of disloyalty, but they played a crucial role in challenging the Zionist narrative and sparking debate within the Jewish community. Section 9. Conclusion: Zionism at a crossroads. So where does that leave Zionism today? Well, it's safe to say that the movement is at a crossroads. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains unresolved, and the two-state solution, once seen as the most viable path to peace, seems increasingly distant. Within Israel, there are growing divisions between those who support a more hardline approach to the conflict and those who advocate for peace and reconciliation with the Palestinians. And in the American Jewish community, we're seeing a similar trend. Younger generations, influenced by social justice movements like Black Lives Matter, are increasingly critical of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. This has led to growing tensions between older, more traditional Zionist organizations and younger, more progressive Jewish groups. The future of Zionism, it seems, hinges on its ability to grapple with these internal and external challenges and find a way forward that ensures justice and dignity for all.